The story of Dan Blocker is one of the most remarkable journeys in television history. Millions of viewers remember him as Hoss Cartwright, the kind-hearted and dependable son from Bonanza. His warm smile, gentle personality, and towering presence made him one of the most beloved characters ever to appear on American television. Yet away from the cameras, the man behind Hoss lived a life shaped by hardship, military service, determination, and personal sacrifice. Decades after his passing, renewed interest in his legacy has led members of his family, including one of his sons, to reflect publicly on the man they knew at home. Their memories have helped paint a more complete picture of Dan Blocker, not simply as a famous actor, but as a devoted husband, father, veteran, and friend whose true character was even greater than the role that made him famous. To understand why Dan Blocker continues to inspire admiration today, it is important to look back at the beginning of his extraordinary life. Long before he became a television icon, he was known as Bobby Dan Davis Blocker. He was born on December 10, 1928, in DeKalb, Texas, and from the moment he entered the world, he stood apart from other children. According to historical accounts, he weighed approximately 14 pounds at birth, making him one of the largest babies born in the region at that time. His exceptional size became the first indication that he would grow into an unforgettable figure. Dan spent much of his childhood in the small Texas community of O'Donnell, where his parents raised him with strong values centered on honesty, hard work, and respect for others. Like many children growing up during the Great Depression, he learned the importance of responsibility at an early age. He helped in the family grocery business, carried groceries for customers, and performed whatever jobs were needed around town. Those early experiences taught him humility and gave him a deep appreciation for ordinary working people. Even as a young boy, neighbors noticed both his unusual physical strength and his calm, friendly nature. As he entered his teenage years, Dan's remarkable size continued to attract attention. He grew into an exceptionally tall and powerful young man, yet those who knew him often commented that his kindness was even more impressive than his strength. Friends remembered that he rarely sought conflict, but if someone challenged him, he possessed the confidence and physical ability to defend himself. His combination of size, patience, and gentle humor earned him respect throughout his hometown and foreshadowed the qualities that audiences would later love in Hoss Cartwright. After graduating from high school, Dan continued his education and developed into an outstanding athlete. Football quickly became one of his greatest talents, and his performance on the field earned him opportunities to continue playing at the college level. Standing well over 6 feet tall and weighing around 275 pounds, he was an intimidating presence for opposing teams. Many believed he had the physical ability to pursue a professional football career, but life soon presented him with an unexpected opportunity that would ultimately change his future forever. While attending college, Dan became involved with the campus drama department almost by accident. Because of his tremendous strength, he was initially asked to help move heavy scenery and stage equipment rather than perform on stage. During one production, however, he was given a small acting role. That brief experience introduced him to the excitement of live performance and awakened an interest he had never seriously considered before. The applause of the audience and the challenge of portraying a character sparked a passion that grew stronger with every performance. Recognizing that acting offered a different kind of fulfillment, Dan gradually shifted his academic focus toward theater. Although football remained an important part of his life, he realized that his future might lie somewhere beyond athletics. Instead of chasing a career in professional sports, he committed himself to studying acting and improving his skills as a performer. His determination eventually led him to opportunities in New York, where he gained valuable stage experience, including appearances in respected theatrical productions that strengthened his confidence and prepared him for the competitive world of professional entertainment. Just as his acting ambitions were beginning to grow, world events dramatically altered the course of his life. Like many young Americans of his generation, Dan answered the call to military service. His enormous physical stature immediately presented practical challenges for the U.S. Army. Finding properly fitting uniforms and boots required extra time because standard military equipment simply was not designed for someone of his unusual size. Nevertheless, once those logistical problems were solved, he began the demanding training that prepared him for combat overseas. During the Korean War, Dan served as a combat infantryman in some of the conflict's most dangerous areas. Historical records show that he served with distinction under extremely difficult conditions, enduring freezing temperatures, exhausting patrols, and constant enemy attacks. Life on the front lines required extraordinary physical endurance and mental resilience, qualities that Dan possessed in abundance. Alongside his fellow soldiers, he experienced the harsh realities of war every day while carrying out his responsibilities with courage and discipline. One incident during his military service demonstrated the bravery that defined his character. While under enemy fire, Dan risked his own safety to assist a fellow soldier who had become trapped in a dangerous position. His actions reflected the same selflessness that friends and family would later describe throughout his life. During his service, he was wounded in combat and received the Purple Heart, an honor awarded to members of the United States Armed Forces who are injured while serving in battle. Although he rarely spoke publicly about his wartime experiences, those who served alongside him understood the courage and sacrifice required to earn such recognition. The Korean War left lasting emotional impressions on Dan Blocker. Like many veterans, he returned home carrying memories that would remain with him for the rest of his life. Witnessing the devastating human cost of armed conflict shaped his personal beliefs, and in later years he expressed thoughtful criticism of war and its consequences. Rather than glorifying combat, he emphasized the importance of peace and understood firsthand the suffering that military conflict brings to soldiers and civilians alike. Those experiences added depth and compassion to the man audiences would eventually come to know through television. After completing his military service, Dan was determined to build a peaceful family life. He married his college sweetheart, Dolphia Parker, and together they created a close-knit home while raising 4 children. Family became the center of his world, providing the stability and happiness he had long hoped for after the hardships of war. Although he continued pursuing higher education and even enrolled at UCLA while working toward advanced academic goals, fate once again redirected his path. Living in California placed him close to the rapidly expanding television industry, where casting directors quickly noticed his commanding appearance, unmistakable Texas charm, and naturally warm personality. At a time when Western dramas dominated American television, Dan Blocker possessed exactly the qualities producers were searching for, setting the stage for the career that would soon transform him into one of the most recognizable faces in television history. Dan Blocker's entry into Hollywood was not the result of overnight success. Like many aspiring actors of his era, he spent years accepting small parts while learning the craft in front of the camera. During the late 1950s, he appeared in numerous television series, including westerns and crime dramas that were extremely popular with American audiences. These early performances allowed producers and directors to recognize his unique screen presence. Although his imposing size often led to roles as intimidating or rugged characters, those who worked with him quickly discovered that his greatest strength as an actor was his ability to combine physical power with genuine warmth and humor. Everything changed in 1959 when NBC began developing a new Western series based on the Cartwright family. The program, which would become Bonanza, centered on Ben Cartwright and his 3 sons living on the vast Ponderosa ranch near Virginia City, Nevada. Producers searched extensively for an actor capable of portraying Eric Haas Cartwright, a character who needed to appear physically formidable while also possessing innocence, loyalty, and compassion. Dan Blocker proved to be the perfect choice. His natural kindness reflected exactly what the writers envisioned, making the casting decision one of the most successful in television history. When Bonanza premiered, its popularity grew steadily before eventually becoming one of the highest-rated television programs in the United States. Dan's portrayal of Haas quickly became a favorite among viewers of all ages. While many Western heroes relied on toughness alone, Haas stood apart because he treated people with respect, protected those who were vulnerable, and often resolved conflicts with understanding instead of violence. His honesty, generosity, and unmistakable laugh gave the series emotional depth, making him far more than simply the big, strong brother. For countless fans, Haas represented the type of person they wished existed in real life. Behind the scenes, Dan Blocker earned a reputation as one of the friendliest members of the cast. Fellow actors frequently described him as approachable, patient, and considerate. Despite becoming one of television's biggest stars, he remained remarkably humble and avoided the arrogance that sometimes accompanies fame. Crew members recalled that he greeted everyone on set with respect, whether they were executives, camera operators, or new employees working their first day. His easygoing personality helped create a positive atmosphere during production and contributed to the strong relationships that developed among the cast. Dan also formed a particularly close friendship with actor Lorne Greene, who portrayed Ben Cartwright. Although they played father and son on television, their mutual respect extended beyond the cameras. Michael Landon and Pernell Roberts, who portrayed Haas's brothers, also shared memorable experiences with Dan throughout the series. Like many long-running productions, Bonanza occasionally experienced creative disagreements and contract negotiations, but those who knew Dan consistently described him as someone who preferred cooperation over conflict. He focused on doing his job well and supporting the success of the entire cast rather than seeking attention for himself. As Bonanza became an international phenomenon, Dan Blocker's popularity expanded far beyond television. Fans admired him not only because of Haas Cartwright, but because they believed the actor genuinely shared many of the character's best qualities. Public appearances regularly drew large crowds eager to meet the gentle giant they welcomed into their homes every week. Unlike many celebrities who carefully cultivated glamorous public images, Dan remained comfortable presenting himself as an ordinary family man who appreciated his success without allowing it to define him. Away from the studio, his greatest priority remained his wife, Dalphia, and their 4 children. Despite the demanding filming schedule required by a hit television series, Dan made every effort to spend meaningful time with his family whenever production allowed. Friends often remarked that he rarely allowed his professional responsibilities to overshadow his role as a husband and father. He valued privacy and preferred quiet family activities over the Hollywood social scene, a decision that reflected the same grounded values he had learned during his childhood in Texas. Dan also possessed a sharp business mind that many people overlooked. Rather than relying solely on acting income, he explored investments and business opportunities outside the entertainment industry. He understood that television careers could be unpredictable and believed in planning carefully for his family's future. This practical approach demonstrated that his success resulted not only from talent, but also from thoughtful financial decisions and long-term planning. By the late 1960s, Bonanza had become one of the defining programs of American television, and Dan Blocker was among its most recognizable stars. His performance earned admiration from critics and audiences alike, while his professionalism made him highly respected throughout Hollywood. Yet even as his career reached extraordinary heights, he remained committed to living according to the principles that had guided him since childhood: hard work, humility, loyalty, and kindness. Those qualities would ultimately become the foundation of the legacy he left behind, ensuring that Dan Blocker would be remembered not only as the unforgettable Haas Cartwright, but also as one of the most genuinely admired figures in television history. Dan Blocker's path to becoming one of television's most beloved stars was built through patience, consistency, and a series of memorable supporting roles that gradually earned him recognition across Hollywood. After completing his education and military service, he began pursuing acting with determination, accepting small appearances wherever opportunities arose. Throughout the 1950s, audiences started noticing his unique combination of physical size, gentle personality, and effortless humor. He appeared in a number of popular Western television series, including Gunsmoke, Colt .45, The Rifleman, Have Gun, Will Travel, and Maverick, each role allowing him to refine his acting skills while building a reputation as a dependable character performer. Although he occasionally accepted film work, television quickly became the medium where he felt most comfortable. giving him the chance to develop characters over multiple episodes instead of appearing briefly on the big screen. His first significant career breakthrough arrived in 1957 when he was cast in the Western series The Restless Gun. The role introduced him to a much wider audience and proved that he was capable of carrying more substantial performances. Soon afterward, he accepted a recurring part as Tiny Buetinger in Cimarron City, portraying an easygoing ranch hand whose lovable personality and natural comedic timing immediately connected with viewers. The character demonstrated that Blocker possessed much more than an imposing appearance. Behind his towering frame was an actor with remarkable warmth, perfect comic instincts, and a genuine sincerity that audiences found impossible to ignore. Producers across Hollywood began to recognize his talent, opening the door to the opportunity that would define his career forever. That life-changing opportunity came when Dan Blocker was chosen to play Hoss Cartwright in the NBC Western series Bonanza. Premiering in 1959, the show quickly became one of the most successful television programs in American history, and Blocker's portrayal of Hoss became one of its greatest strengths. As the middle son of the Cartwright family, Hoss was written as a kind-hearted giant whose honesty, loyalty, and compassion made him deeply relatable. Although the character was often portrayed as less educated than his brothers, Hoss possessed extraordinary wisdom, fairness, and emotional intelligence. Children admired his gentle spirit, while adults appreciated his unwavering sense of justice. Week after week, viewers welcomed Hoss into their homes, making him one of the most beloved television characters of his generation. Much of Hoss's authenticity came directly from Dan Blocker's own personality. Friends and colleagues frequently described him as humble, generous, and thoughtful, qualities that naturally shaped his performance. He believed deeply in treating people with kindness and respect, values that reflected the timeless Quaker principle often summarized as doing as much good as possible whenever the opportunity arises. Rather than simply delivering scripted lines, Blocker infused Hoss with genuine compassion that audiences instinctively recognized. His portrayal never felt forced because the warmth viewers saw on screen closely matched the man behind the character. Contrary to the public image of Hoss as a simple rancher, Dan Blocker himself was highly educated and intellectually curious. He earned a master's degree in dramatic arts and enjoyed reading literature, history, and philosophy. Those who knew him personally often remarked that conversations with him covered subjects far beyond entertainment. His service in the United States Army during the Korean War also gave him a mature perspective on conflict, responsibility, and human nature. That combination of education, military experience, and natural empathy allowed him to portray Hoss with remarkable depth. His character could be humorous one moment and fiercely protective the next, creating a balance that kept audiences emotionally invested throughout the series. While Blocker's impressive height and broad build made him visually perfect for the role, it was his gentle demeanor that truly brought Hoss Cartwright to life. Within only a few years of entering professional acting, he had become an essential member of one of television's most recognizable families. Off-camera, he formed lasting friendships with his co-stars, especially Lorne Greene and Michael Landon. Their relationship extended far beyond the television set, with the three actors sharing genuine affection and mutual respect. Blocker's friendship with Landon became especially close, reflecting the strong family atmosphere that existed behind the scenes during the production of Bonanza. That chemistry naturally carried over to the screen, helping make the Cartwright family feel authentic to millions of viewers. Even while starring in one of television's highest-rated programs, Dan Blocker occasionally accepted film roles to broaden his career. He appeared alongside major Hollywood stars, including Frank Sinatra, demonstrating that his talents extended beyond television. Yet despite increasing fame and financial success, he remained deeply connected to his roots in O'Donnell, Texas. Friends from his hometown remembered him as the same polite, thoughtful individual they had known long before Hollywood discovered him. His success became a source of pride for the local community, where people celebrated the achievements of the quiet young man who had grown into one of America's favorite television personalities. Although Bonanza made Dan Blocker a household name, celebrity itself was never something he actively pursued. Acting was his passion, but constant public attention often made him uncomfortable. His enormous physical presence meant he was almost impossible to go unnoticed, and everyday activities frequently turned into unexpected public events. Family outings, vacations, and even simple walks could quickly attract crowds of enthusiastic fans eager to meet the man they knew as Haas Cartwright. While he always appreciated the affection audiences showed him, he valued privacy and preferred living a peaceful family life away from cameras whenever possible. One memorable example occurred during a family vacation to Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. What was intended to be a relaxing escape soon became another reminder of his extraordinary popularity. Wherever he traveled, people immediately recognized him and enthusiastically greeted him as Haas Cartwright. Experiences like these illustrated both the incredible success of Bonanza and the personal challenges that accompanied worldwide fame. Unlike many entertainers who embraced constant publicity, Blocker remained modest, focusing more on his family than on maintaining a glamorous public image.